Hi everyone, I'm Natasha from AxelsonAcademy. Recently you saw a video of me using the tree strategy to begin a writing piece, an opinion writing piece. Now the tree strategy is part of the SDSR writing strategies that you can find online. There's actually training online, and the great thing about these strategies is they can be applied to any grade level and any situation that you're in. It's a very adaptable set of strategies. So I'm really looking at like the kindergarten level where we're just starting to formulate our sentences. So we're using very simple sentences, pictures to support that. And I have this book, Give Bees a Chance, which is a great picture book to use when you're teaching opinion writing, because we're going to see two sides of an opinion in here. Now, as we go through this book, it gets pretty detailed. So depending on the grade level that you are looking at, you might just be reading some of the main parts of this book, some of the big headings, and maybe not. Usually the smaller print are more detailed, or you might choose to read the whole thing. When I use this in a class, and I'm going to pretend that I'm using this in a kindergarten class, I'm going to do the initial reading on its own first before we get into the writing, but we're going to come back to it. And that way, this is going to be an anchor text for us. We will come back and refer to it many, many times, but I want students to have heard it all the way through so they have time to process what's going on in this book. So, Give Bees a Chance. Love the pictures in here. And on the first page, we have 8 different types of bees. It does talk about them. You could go through all of these, or maybe if you're doing kindergarten, first read through, we're just talking, oh, here's 8 different kinds of bees. Okay. And here are our 2 characters here. We actually only get the name of our second character, Edgar. And here's our main character. This is our, oops, sorry. I'll start that again. There are actually 2 characters in this book. We have our narrator who is talking, and then we have his friend Edgar, and this is Edgar here. This is my best buddy, Edgar. We all love the same. This is my best buddy, Edgar. We love all the same things, like board games and dinosaurs, strawberries and honey, and of course, bees. And Edgar says, except that I don't really like bees. Sure you do. Didn't I tell you there are about 25,000 different kinds of bees to love? And there's all these different kinds in here. Maybe. And then I told you all about the 3 types of honeybees. And we could look at those 3 types depending on how in depth you want to go. We have queens, drones, and workers. Ah, get them away from me. Do you think Edgar loves bees like the narrator? Phew, thanks. Like I was saying, I don't like bees. But why? Mostly because of their stingers and attached venom sacs, which are the cause of painful bee stings. That part you told me last week. Here's last Sunday, Edgar, brave tears. The ouch, super mean bee with the stinger. But that was just one bee. Couldn't you still give bees a chance? Maybe I just need to remind you how weird and cool a honeybee's anatomy is. They have 5 eyes, 2 stomachs, 4 wings, 6 legs. Stinger, ouch. Maybe you just need some time to get to know them. How about millions of years? You know, bees lived with dinosaurs. Scientists have found bee fossils from millions of years ago, and even ancient Egyptians kept bees. In fact, honey from bees was found in an Egyptian tomb, and it was still edible. Ooh, honey. Perfect. Maybe you just need some honey. Bees make honey. Why are you telling me all this stuff? So you'll give bees a chance. Once you learn how great they are, you're bound to fall in love with them. There he is, eating his honey. Check out how honey is made. And we go through a real scientific explanation of how bees make honey. And at this one part, the honey gets barfed into a honeycomb cell, and he says, "Did you say barf?" He thought that was funny. Just 1 pound of honey takes 2 million flowers and thousands of bees to create. Too many bees. Then it gives you a little hint. Blow gently on bees to make them scatter. So if I had a class in front of them, I'd have them all gently blow this direction to scatter the bees. It looks like I haven't convinced you yet. Nope, because they're all going to sting me. Oh, well, bees do sting sometimes, but it's not because they're mean. Here's some stinger stories. Bees only sting to defend themselves. You look delicious. Back off. Or to avoid getting squished or smashed. In fact, many bees lose their stinger after attacking, which is sort of like your hand disappearing after you pinch your sister. Also, what are you wearing? Bee armor. That's not going to work. It was designed for dragons. I think it can handle bees. Well, there is a kind of armor that beekeepers wear, but it looks a bit different. It allows them to collect honey and beeswax without getting stung by startled bees. And here's the outfit of our beekeeper. But giving up bees means giving up so much more than honey. He said, "You know I love honey. I'd be willing to give it up forever to never see a bee again. But giving up bees means giving up more than honey." Bees have a big impact on the food chain. You see, in order for plants to grow fruits and vegetables, they need the right ingredients. A major ingredient they need is pollen. But since flowers can't move, they can't always get pollen from each other. That's where bees fly in. They act as a pollen delivery service, helping give flowers the ingredients they need. A single bee can visit over 1,000 flowers a day, making bee pollination powers unparalleled. Which means without bees, there'd be a lot less yummy stuff to eat. And bees are disappearing in large numbers. Bees actually need our help. Okay, I take it back. I don't want bees gone. I even sort of want to help them as long as they don't sting me. Planting bee-friendly flowers are a great way to help the bee population. Won't that just attract more bees? Hopefully, yes, but just approach a bee like you would a dog you don't know. Don't get too close and don't try to touch it. Unless you're a flower, it should lose interest and fly away. And if more people like you give bees a chance, they just might have, a chance to make the world a sweeter place. Now, have I told you how much I love bears? And here he is offering the honey to the bears. Now, you might have noticed as I read that I left out some of the details here. And I love the details in the book. But for an initial read with a kindergarten class or a child that is younger than kindergarten, there's a lot of information packed in here, a lot about bees that I didn't know. You want to catch their attention and you want to keep the book moving. So I went through and we get that overarching story the first time. Then we put it to the side. Then we come back the next day. Do you remember this book where Edgar and his friends talk about bees? Oh, you do? Okay, let's turn to the person next to us. And would you tell your friend what you remember from this book about bees? They turn, they talk, and you bring them back together. So we're activating now some of the prior knowledge that we have given them through this book. You know what? This author put in even more details here that we didn't get to for our first read through. We're going to read it again, and this time I'm going to add in some more bee details. And these are going to be facts about bees. Do you remember how we've been studying fact and opinion in our opinion writing? So would you turn to the person next to you and tell them what a fact is? And they're going to say, oh, it's something that's true. So like, it's true that bees have 6 legs. Bees have 6 legs. That's just how many legs they have. It is true that I have 2 legs. That's how many I have. Now, turn to the person next to you and tell them what an opinion is. Great job. Now come and listen to me. We're going to go through and read this again, and we're going to get more facts about our bees. Then we go back, we reread the whole book, and they're going to love it even more. It helps to refresh their memory on those details that we read the first time through. We add more in. When we finish reading this the second day, we're going to put it to the side. And on day 3, we're going to come back and we're going to see how this author made a case for some opinions. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.